My name's Ben Howard and I'm a data practitioner working with Excel and Power BI on a daily basis. Let's crack on with this course and delve into pivot tables. Personally, I think pivot tables are a fantastic tool, and typically they're the first really advanced feature of Excel that many users will come across and attempt to use. So, firstly, what is a pivot table? Well, here it is, the official Microsoft definition of a pivot table. It is important, so let me read it out to you. A pivot table is a powerful tool to calculate, summarize, and analyze data that lets you see comparisons, patterns, and trends in your data. Now for me, the really important words are summarize and analyze. Ultimately, data is just data. It needs to be analyzed in order to turn that data into information, which we can then use as part of our decision-making process in our organization. So let's have a look at pivot tables in respect to data analysis. Firstly, pivot tables allow us to summarize, sort, and filter hundreds of thousands of rows of data exceedingly quickly, and because of that, they allow us to transform raw data into meaningful insights. Pivot tables are dynamic. For example, you can add filters, slices, drill through, grouping. You can identify trends and compare categories and values across a single or multiple data sets. And we can derive new data. If I have sales value and cost, then of course I could derive profit and display that profit in multiple ways. For example, as a dollar value or a percentage, etc. Ultimately, pivot tables simplify complex data analysis, making it easy to spot patterns and make data-driven decisions. So let's define the structure of a pivot table. It's important we understand the components in order to get the best value out of them and this course. Here's a pivot table, and I downloaded the publicly available data for this pivot table from the US Bureau of Statistics. Let's dig into the structure. You can see I have a set of rows, and each row represents a specific airport within the US. The rows have a label name called airport name. I've also got a set of columns, and the columns are labeled month of year and are numbered 1 through to 12, representing, of course, the months January through to December. In the middle there, I have some numerical values representing the number of flight arrivals for each airport for each month. At this moment, those values are expressed as a pure numerical number, the total number of flights, but I could easily express those as a percentage of the total number of flights, or as a percentage of the flights per month, or flights per airport. To the right, each row is totalized, so I can easily see the total number of flights for each airport. I have the total number of flights per month and a grand total of the two. I've also added a filter to this pivot table, and so we can see that we're just looking at the data for a single airline, and the total at the bottom right, that's the total number of flights for the 12 months. I can add a slicer, or indeed more than one, to a pivot table. A slicer is really just a nicely formatted filter, and in this one I've just selected 3 airports, and you can see the pivot table is filtered to just those selections.